Well, yeah, Marvel D23 Expo, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they announced stuff. So let's go and look. Of course, Wakanda Forever, you already knew that. You saw the trailer, and then Namor's going to be in it, but he's going to be from... Is it the Aztec Empire or the Mayans? I forget what. None of which fit in with the original story about being from Atlantis. But they're going to do that anyway. Say, hey, look, and make it all about Latinx. Apparently, you can't say Latino anymore. Yeah. Represent this and all that stuff. Because DC already did Aquaman. So I guess they decided, oh, we can't have Atlantis. You could. DC can't own Atlantis. It's an old myth, you know. Of course, that being said, DC could do their own Thor if they wanted to, but yeah. But anyway, there's that, and without the actual Black Panther in it, because they decided they didn't want to recast it because they thought that would be, too soon and rude for the memory of Chadwick Boseman. Probably just could have put it off for a while so that when you did recast it, maybe, but because this doesn't really work, not really, because Namor should have been introduced through the Fantastic Four, and of course the only real reason to see it is they let it leak and tease that Doctor Doom will show up in it, which is also a precursor to Fantastic Four. So that would be the interesting thing. Oh, I want to go see that. So you go see that while you go see Black Adam to see if Superman's in it. Although Black Adam is probably going to be the better film because it doesn't have all these complications. Whatever. That's the Black Panther movie with no Black Panther, except apparently his sister will take his place, I guess. So there you go. Ironheart, of course, spins out of that. You knew that too. And she'll get her D+ series, which I have no interest in or any hope for. But that's being said, the Ms. Marvel series turned out to be the best one they've done. Didn't really see that coming, but well, there it is. So, and with this Hulk series, which is the She-Hulk series, is terrible, just awful. So if they change it up so it isn't as crazy and psychotic as the comic book version, which is kind of it is what they did with the Ms. Marvel series. The Ms. Marvel TV series is much better than the comic book version. It's usually the other way around. Perhaps Ironheart will be good too. I don't know. I doubt it, but thanks to She-Hulk, it can't possibly be worse than that crap. So you'll get that. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is probably the more interesting of the batch, but then I thought the Doctor Strange film would be the more interesting one, so yeah, who knows. I have liked the Ant-Man films. Other people haven't. I particularly hear a lot of people that hated the sequel. I didn't think it was that big of a problem. I actually liked it, but to each their own. So hopefully this one will be okay and good. Plus, it's introducing Kang, which was introduced in the Loki series, but more or less, actually, it was his alternate version, Immortus, I believe. And so this could lead into more multiverse shenanigans and time travel, because that's what Kang does. So that's the interesting tease for this one, to see what that's all about. So this one I'm more than likely going to go see than the rest. Werewolf by Night, I did hear the mention that this was being done. Forgot all about it, and all of a sudden they dropped the trailer, so I watched it. The trailer, I mean, it's cool that that they're doing black and white stuff because it looks like an old movie, like old werewolf movies, and that sort of thing. It's not Werewolf by Night was another superhero story. I mean, he turns into a werewolf and all that, but he solves crimes and fights bad guys. And Moon Knight was actually introduced through Werewolf by Night. He was hired to take down the werewolf, and they ended up teaming up together and whatnot. if they were going to do a Werewolf by Night, they should have just introduced Moon Knight through that and let him be who he really was, you know. But oh well, whatever. Because Moon Knight, another series that really let me down greatly, because I like the Moon Knight comics, even though they've changed over the years and whatnot. Well, I like most of them. But here comes Werewolf by Night, I guess, just to be a Halloween show on February. Or when is it going to come out? Oh, all right. It'll be all right. So it will be a Halloween show for October. So this is D23, right? So this isn't really. Do they mean October next year? I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I got that wrong. Yeah, that's probably what they mean. But it mentions, it puts the full year for this, for AntMan. So, well, yeah, we'll find out shortly, you know. So anyway, should be Michael Giacchino. Is that the composer? He's directing it? That's interesting. But yeah, I saw the trailer, and you can't really tell a lot about it. It almost looks like a black and white Rob Zombie horror film, you know. I don't know, not so much whether all these people are brought together and we're going to find out which one of you is the real monster. I don't know what that's about. It's like, you know, and then there were one, and then there were two, or whatever type Agatha Christie thing with horror elements, and then werewolf's got to figure it out. I don't know. So, hey, look. I'm guessing he's the werewolf. Well, you let that one out. So, yeah, I'll check it out, you know. So, that'll be interesting. So, finally, Secret Invasion, which won't be Secret Invasion like it was in the comic books. But, so it's Nick Fury, which might be an amalgam of Secret Invasion and Secret War. Now, Secret War is Secret War without the S on the end. The original Secret Wars, and then the follow-up, well, there was Secret Wars 2, and then long ago, I mean, years later, when they wrecked Marvel and replaced it with their all-new, all-now, all-woke Marvel, they did this series called Secret Wars as well, which was they time-warped and did shenanigans with their universe, rebooted it and all that, and it all went to crap. But the series itself was kind of interesting. But before all of that, there was a series called Secret War, which was basically Nick Fury using superheroes like Spider-Man and whatnot to do secret missions, which makes the title sound more sensible. It makes more sense. Which the other ones were all being on another planet and on the other side of the universe and stuff. And then he erased all their memories of it and this sort of thing. But I don't know how much of that would play into it. But him recruiting superheroes for this Skrulls who've infiltrated the Earth might play into this story. I'm guessing. I don't know. It just shows him, you know, skulking about and trust no one and all this type of stuff. But it's interesting somewhat because they made the Skrulls into a sympathetic people to make them a vehicle to preach about refugees and whatnot. But that's not the Skrulls' story. So my guess is they'll split it off where there's good Skrulls and there's bad Skrulls. So, and that sort of kind of is in keeping with the original story where it was this sect of Skrulls who had this religious belief that the Earth was originally theirs. And so that's why they did the Secret Invasion, where they replaced all kinds of superheroes and stuff because they can shapeshift, you know, and they took their place. It was another way to explain how certain characters seemingly died but didn't. We revealed that wasn't really them. It was a Skrull and all this sort of thing. I don't know. Are they going to do that with Tony Stark and say, he didn't die. That wasn't him. Dubious on that one, but I don't know. Maybe they'll do a couple of those with that. So there you go. Fantastic Four! But I don't think we'll be seeing any Fantastic Four next year. But we know it's underway. So this announcement is really much ado about nothing. Armor Wars. Iron Man's dead unless, of course, Secret Invasion reveals he's not. So the story won't be the same. I'm guessing they'll do it with Don Cheadle as War Machine, taking on this people stealing Tony Stark's technology and making their own suits of armor and all that, which could spill into Ironheart, I suppose, because that's kind of what she does. But then again, they'll probably rewrite that where, no, she made it up on her own. How about that? So Loki II, of course, and I thought, yeah, sorry, no. This is the one, because there's been tons of rumors about Henry Cavill jumping ship to Marvel. Now, it's quite likely and possible that they did have discussions with him, but, you know, it didn't happen. This one here as just a goof or a gag for an episode of Loki with multiverse stuff, and he runs into a Hyperion. If they want to follow up with another Hyperion, they can cast someone else. Thought maybe just kind of like a gag that's kind of silly, and they do it. And they get him for a one episode, and he would do that where he's in a Superman-like outfit, but as Hyperion, and that's it. And that would be the end of it. But I guess not. Once again, at a convention, he's a no-show. So odds are he's more likely to be Superman again. I hope so. But not going to be in Marvel. There was rumors of him being Captain Britain. I don't think so, especially since they don't seem to want a male Captain Britain anymore. Also that he could have been Wolverine, that they might have been interested in him. I don't know about that. And Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, that they were looking to him to take that role, perhaps. But maybe they're going to actually give it to Krasinski. I don't know, that it wasn't just a little gag appearance of him in Doctor Strange, but then again, maybe not. I don't know. It's all up in the air, I guess. Or it isn't, we just don't know it, but that's how that works. Echo, yeah, who cares? I mean, you know, what becomes of Daredevil after She-Hulk, after they silly him up? Will they bring him back to being serious in this, or make him silly? Since Echo was introduced in the Hawkeye, which Hawkeye, second only to Ms. Marvel, is probably one of their better efforts of these shows. But it was still pretty silly and stupid. But, you know, that's what you can expect. Thunderbolts. Well, how are you going to do that? You haven't really developed any of the villains. It's just going to be these guys. Taskmaster. After what they did with Taskmaster, I don't want to see Taskmaster anymore. Oh, wait, that's Ghost. Ghost can come back, but Taskmaster, nah. So, U.S. Agent, yeah, kind of interesting that he could be there. And Red Guardian, who they just made it. He's silly. Giggle tee-hee. And then his daughter is the leader. This isn't... No. This is not Thunderbolts. You know, after Secret Invasion, if they had introduced Norman Osborn, their version of Norman Osborn, then he could go on to be the leader of it. Maybe they could have done that one. But they've never introduced, well, they did introduce Baron Zemo, and that somehow he becomes Citizen V, and they do that story. But the problem is they haven't developed most of their villains to be of any interest to form a team, and also pose as these other superheroes and fool everybody into thinking they're a new team of superheroes. That sort of thing. Doesn't look like they're going to do any of that, which is so beyond what the story was. And then it just, and of course, eventually though, you know, Thunderbolts just kind of sort of became Marvel's answers to Suicide Squad. And that's about it. So I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know if it has any connection to Secret Invasion. I guess it should, you know, which is what the Norman Osborn version came out of. But it won't be Norman Osborn, I guess. But, yeah. I don't know. Not really. And with Taskmaster, it's so upsetting. What they did there was just awful. Ruined. There was a lot of things wrong with the Black Widow movie, but this was one of the big problems. So, it's too bad. It's too bad. Because Kurt Russell's boy here, he actually played a pretty cool, interesting character, but it was ruined by Falcon and Winter Soldier with the terrible ethic it had of making the Falcon be sympathetic to a mass murderer. So it remains the worst, absolute worst of the D Plus Marvel shows. So Captain America, New World Order. Speaking of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I don't know, what's he gonna do? Oh, the only interesting thing here is Tim Blake Nelson, no relation as far as I know, will return. He way back when in the Hulk movie, when it was played by a better actor, they introduced this character, Dr. Samuel Stearns, who becomes the leader, one of the main villains of the Hulk. So he's gonna show up in this movie, and I'm assuming he'll be in his full form, because you could see the gamma radiation changing him towards the end of that movie. And then they're going to cast someone to play the Israeli superhero in Sabra. Yeah, I remember her from the old days. They'll probably make her more of a villain, because, you know, politics and whatnot. Well, maybe not. So that's what they're going to do. But see, the thing about the leader being there is like, well, he's a Hulk villain. So there's no mention if the Hulk will play a role in it. That'd be cool. But it's not a Captain America villain. But I guess it'll involve something international espionage, and probably the leader getting involved in terrorism or something. And then Saber has to join forces with Captain Falcon America and take him down, you know. The flick is a paranoid thriller, so everybody's going to be distrusting of everybody else, that kind of thing. Then the Marvels. Yeah, well, the only news about that is Brie Larson pretty much admitting, yeah, I'm getting the boot. Yeah, in favor of, I don't know, Monica Rambeau, I guess. Because suddenly the Marvel people and Kevin Feige suddenly realized, oh, wait, the first female Captain Marvel was a black woman from New Orleans. After they were just making a big deal about their female hero with Brie Larson and all that. And yeah, it didn't go over well. Which a lot of that stuff, I mean, Brie Larson's own statements and stuff about 40-year-old white dudes, ew, that's on her. But the whole rollout of Captain Marvel and the way it was handled, a lot of it's not her fault. You know, it was just stupidly shoehorned. They didn't weave her character in like the others. It was just quite the slap job. That being said, seeing some of the terrible, just god-awful, lazy productions they've done over the past year, with the exception of Spider-Man. And, no, that's it, Spider-Man. All the other movies were terrible. Captain Marvel, it's not as bad as those. It's not, you know. That's how far they've fallen. So... Daredevil Born Again, the idea that they're actually going to do an adaptation of Born Again, highly unlikely. Some elements would be in it, but that's about it. So he's going to show up in She-Hulk to make him silly. Apparently he almost kisses her, but then they don't. So Charlie Cox showed up. They said, yeah, we got you some cocks. So Daredevil and Kingpin, see, there's them, showed up to say, yeah, Daredevil's coming. But it won't be as good as the Netflix show, more than likely. Maybe they'll surprise everybody, but I doubt it. Man, I tell you, most of those shows stink, except Ms. Marvel, and I guess Hawkeye. Imagine that. Imagine that. Oh well, time will tell.